What was your question about Weekend at Bernie's 2 again, Brian?
My question about Weekend at Bernie's 2 is that no, the tower, which was such a cool chunk of that episode, but it really feels like a love letter from Caleb to his friends. So I guess just tell us about your inspiration for the tower and how it ended up coming to fruition.
It is, and a love letter to my friends, Liam's friends, and I don't know. I mean, like, I think back as I look at all the spells that Caleb can get access to, and I think of all the ones that I loved from the last campaign where I had almost no magic, and one of our favorites, one thing that facilitated so much great fun and shenanigans and role-playing moments was that fucking mansion. So I knew that I wanted us to be able to do that again, to be able to be on a volcano or to be in a frigid field in the tundra or in the Underdark or wherever it is Matt's going to take us, but also be able to get out of it and just hang out and talk to each other, especially now when we're also starved for company from our friends, the real people. But then it's Caleb, it's not Scanlan, and Scanlan his character was so brilliant because he was so good at improvisation and making shit up on the fly, and Caleb is so I'm not, but Caleb is very specific and exact and methodical, and I started thinking about it over a year ago, like a year and a half ago, and I started writing what the tower was like 13 or 14 months ago. Wow. And have been editing it. Like every month I would go in and be like, oh, that would totally change now because he feels a little differently about that. Or this person cares more about this thing. In fact, Jester's room I'd always said to myself, well, like, I'm never going to see her room because, like, why would that come up? So I guess I'll make that my imagination of, just like with the illusions I cast in the dome, like my approximation of what Jester saw as a child. But I saw my shot and I took it in the episode or two leading up to it to like see her room. And so I've just been like tinkering with this machine for over a year, and it's meant a lot to me. And I've just been like bursting at the seams with it, waiting. Matt knew about it ages ago.
So thorough.
Danny knew about it months and months ago. A few people in the company knew about it before you guys in the cast knew.
Liam, what am I? Am I chopped? What's the saying?
Liver?
You are Bernie.
Chopped cabbage?
Weekend at Bernie's 3. The Bernieing.
The Bernieing.
That moment was so beautiful, but also, which I don't think we ever got to talk about, was also you've been creating such beautiful things, because also with the dome of how you made all of the images come up around the dome. What did you call that?
Well, the spell was programmed illusion.
Programmed illusion. That's right.
So I still think like Caleb is getting to a place where he, a little bit like Yasha, understands that he was abused and manipulated. He still carries tons of blame for himself, but it's different when he first told it all to Bo and to Not, because then he was like, fuck me. There's no, like, who cares what anyone else did? I did this. And over time, he's been able to, like, let it seep in that, like, you were fucking manipulated on purpose. This was somebody's design, but he still carries the blame for it. And he's got all this pain and misery and awful that he still carries in a sack with him everywhere he goes. But I like juxtaposing that with his fucking love of magic and his love of what he can do with it and creating beauty. It's his, it is his form of art. And I've tried to have that a little bit from the very beginning of the campaign, whenever he was finding books or getting a spell, like what is possible, the things that drew him, and then he was excited to go off to his own schmogwarts when he was a kid. And the Soltris was not like, welcome to death school. It was it was the Sorbonne. It was Yale. It was this amazing place where amazing things happened for people. And somebody inside that group in that school was recruiting a couple of people every year. It wasn't like broadcast that this was, KGB land. So I've been really enjoyed.
Time wasn't a very fun amusement park.
Didn't make
KGB
the
land.
cut.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Great.
So I've been enjoying the higher level magic where I could really sort of touch the things that Caleb has been imagining for so long. It's been fun.
So beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's just how you sort of are interpreting some of these spells that are in the game and sort of making them your own. That's
it really is like connective tissue with Vax and Liam too, because like I love you guys. I love you guys so much, and I am like carrying a lump around with me. You know, like I'm dealing with some shit on my own. We don't need to get into it, but you guys are the light in my life, and you have been for years. And to be able to like, you know, lift up your friends or express how much you care for people. I mean, it's all I care about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is all connected to a game makes it all that more like weird and special and indicative of why we love D&D. Really is like, you know, this is it. Like, and especially with such a go ahead, Liam.
Just the game lets us all tinker with the things we want to tinker with. Like Laura created a very specific character for this campaign, and has created such such an interesting journey, and it's all things that she wanted to tinker with, and that's the beauty of this game.